To Romania next, and a political earthquake in the making. The first round of the presidential election saw a pro-Russia candidate claim the most votes, knocking the pro-European prime minister out of the race in the process. Now, with nearly all of the votes counted, the far-right independent Calin Georgescu found himself with about 23% of the votes, with the centre-right candidate Elena Lasconi just behind. A runoff election will be held in 2 weeks to decide the winner. And joining me now from the Romanian capital, Bukarest, is political scientist Oana-Valentina Suciu. Welcome to DW, Oana-Valentina. Calin Georgescu came seemingly out of nowhere and knocked the pro-Western incumbent out of this presidential race. Can you tell us a little bit more about what he stands for and why he's suddenly become so popular?
Well, first of all, he didn't really come out of nowhere because he's been quite active in the public space since the previous elections. His name has been associated with the one of the extremist far-right party, the Alliance for the Union of Romanians. What he stands for he's what we call a populist. He's very pro-Russian. He is anti-NATO, anti the European EU values, anti-democracy, in favor of a strong-handed leader. Some of his messages refer to Romania not respecting the rules and the regulations that is supposed to respect within the European Union and NATO. And last but not least, he is very much against Romania being a NATO member and paying its share of duties towards this organization.
More on that in a moment. But just, unlike many countries, people will be looking at Romania and saying this is a country that has so far resisted some of these nationalist appeals that you describe Mr. Georgescu as having. What's changed?
Yes and no. Romania has been resisting extreme populism, like the one represented by Mr. Georgescu. However, we have to bear in mind the results of the previous 2 rounds of elections, the parliamentarian elections and the European elections, where the Alliance for the Union of Romanians that I have been mentioning before won quite a sizable number of seats, both in the national parliament and in the European Parliament. So extreme far-right movements are not something new in the Romanian political milieu. They might have changed their names, but they have been existing ever since the fall of communism in December 1989. Calin Georgescu, in spite of the shock that many of the Western democratic inclined Romanian citizens think, Calin Georgescu is not something new in our political public space.
And you've described his sort of pro-Russia views, how he is anti-NATO, anti the European Union. If he is elected in 2 weeks, then what would that mean for Romania in partnerships, international partnerships like the European Union and NATO?
Well, let's remember that in the meantime we have parliamentarian elections. Because we have 3 rounds of consecutive elections, that would be something extremely bad and dangerous for the position that Romania is holding right now, especially since we are one of the countries that has the longest borders with Ukraine. So first of all, that would mean the unconditional support that the Romanian state and Romanian government have been providing to Ukraine. This is the first thing that we thought of in the long term. A potential Georgescu's election as the president of Romania would probably mean a complete resetting of the whole political system. We don't know exactly what to expect if we are to take seriously the kind of messages that he has been spreading in the last 2 months on certain social networks. That would probably mean getting much closer to Kremlin that many of the Romanian citizens would like or even believe in.
Oana-Valentina Suciu, we very much appreciate your insights here on DW. Thanks so much for that.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye.